Have you ever had that experience? You've got two gadgets side by side. One works flawlessly, but the other, it just glitches out and fails. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not about luck. It's all about the blueprint. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the design choices that make or break a device. We're diving deep into the manufacturer's blueprint for creating a product that can stand up to interference. Now, before we jump in, just so you know where all this great info is coming from, this is part 18 of a much bigger 20-part tutorial. It's called Radio Frequency Interference Beyond Wi-Fi, and it's put together by the folks at RFI Detectives. We're really just zeroing in on this one chapter because it gets to the heart of what quality manufacturers do to build devices that can actually survive out there in our noisy world. So yeah, this really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? You can have two devices in the exact same spot, surrounded by the exact same invisible storm of radio waves. One of them is a total champ, just humming along. But the other one, it stutters, it disconnects, it basically just throws in the towel. So what's the deal? What is the actual difference?
Well, here's the secret. The battle against RFI, radio frequency interference, it's not really fought in your house or your office. It's actually won or lost way back on the design table and on the factory floor. So let's take a look at the 4 key stages of that battle.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the outer shell of a device, its physical armor. Then, we're going to crack it open and look at the circuit board itself. After that, we'll see how the best devices filter out all that electronic junk. And finally, we'll talk about what separates a good manufacturer from a truly great one, even after the product is already built. All right, let's start with the most obvious part, the box itself. A device's enclosure is, without a doubt, its first and maybe most important line of defense against RFI. Seriously, think of it like a suit of armor. And this is where you can see a huge difference between quality and, well, not so quality. On one hand, you've got the best practice. A solid metal case, or at least a plastic one coated in metal, with every single seam sealed tight with these special conductive gaskets. It creates a complete shield. But on the other hand, there's the common shortcut. Cheap, thin plastic with big old gaps. To our eyes, it looks fine, but to radio waves, it's like a screen door on a submarine. So what does a strong enclosure really look like up close? Well, it's all about the details. First, you keep the holes, the apertures, to an absolute minimum. Every opening for a cable is a potential leak. You also make sure that every piece of metal is touching another piece of metal, creating this continuous electrical barrier. And those conductive gaskets, they're like the mortar between bricks, sealing every crack. It's a full-on defense system. Okay, moving on. Even the toughest suit of armor isn't much help if the person inside is a mess. The real magic, the real fight, happens on the inside, on the printed circuit board. And it all begins with testing, testing, and more testing. You see, the smart companies, they don't wait until the final exam to see if they've passed. They are constantly testing their work. They'll design a circuit and then immediately test it in their own lab for what's called electromagnetic compatibility. They find the problems, they fix them, and they test it again. It's this cycle of testing and refining that catches problems when they're small and, cheap to fix. And believe me, the stakes here are super high. Finding a major RFI problem at the very end of the line, right before you're supposed to ship, that is a manufacturer's worst nightmare. We're talking about incredibly expensive redesigns, blown deadlines, and ultimately, a product that's just not as good. This is why all that early testing isn't a luxury, it's just smart business. So what does a good circuit board design actually look like? Well, let's break this down. First, you want to make those current loop areas as tiny as possible. Think of big loops as tiny accidental antennas that just broadcast and receive noise. You also want to put up a wall between your noisy digital circuits and your really sensitive analog ones. And maybe most important of all, you need a solid ground plane. A cheap 2-layer board just can't do this well. It's like building a house on a shaky foundation. A multi-layer board gives you that rock-solid ground you need. Okay, so we've got a strong box and a smart circuit board. What's next? Well, now we have to guard the gates, because every single wire that plugs into that device, especially the power cord, is a potential superhighway for interference to get in or out. And this is where filters become absolutely critical. An input power filter is basically the bouncer at the club door. It stands there checking every bit of electricity trying to get in. It lets the clean, good power through, but it blocks all that high-frequency noise and junk that causes problems. Honestly, it's a non-negotiable part of any high-quality piece of gear. So the hardware's locked down, it's solid. But a great company's responsibility doesn't stop when the box is sealed and shipped. The best manufacturers out there know they have a role to play in helping you, the actual user, get the best experience possible.
A good manufacturer gives you the knowledge you need to succeed. Their manuals and guides should actually show you things like where to place the device for the best performance, how to route your cables so they don't become a tangled mess of interference, and even tell you about known issues with other products. This isn't just good customer service. It's a sign of a company that really, truly understands its product and the environment it has to live in.
And this really gets at a much bigger idea. In today's world, with literally countless wireless signals flying all around us, good design is also about being a good neighbor. Spectrum-efficient devices only use the little slice of the airwaves they absolutely need, and they only transmit when they have to. It's a collective responsibility that, when done right, helps keep our shared airwaves clean and usable for everyone. So the next time you're out shopping for some new electronics, I want you to think beyond just the flashy features or the price tag. You now have a peek behind the curtain into that hidden blueprint of quality. You can actually ask yourself, was this thing built like a fortress, or did they take a bunch of shortcuts that left it wide open to problems? The choice, and now the knowledge, is all yours.